Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 140. Yes, nice even numbers, 140 of NerdPod Generations. As always, I am one of your illustrious hosts, Steve Taylor, along with the lovely Al Judson. Hello, sir.
Hello, friends and enemies.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if it has anything to do with us having a website now and having our links to different things, but I'm getting a $3.06 deposited into my account from Amazon because somebody bought one or two of my books. I can't remember how much I get per book.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's one or two or something, but I'm getting $3.06.
Nice.
So I know.
Nice. There you go.
I'm blown away. Every now and then I'll get like a quarter or I'll get 50 cents, and I'm getting $3.
That's not nothing.
I know.
That's something.
I'm still making money, damn it.
Yeah.
But welcome, sir.
How's it going, dude?
Good, man. How are you?
We're hanging in there. We had a fun week. Mary is officially part of the family.
Oh, so
if you
great.
hear any little yips or woofs, that's Mary. Mary is now, all the paperwork is done.
Nice.
He is officially ours.
Nice.
And as with all millennials, we had to make it, I guess it's now Instagram official. It's no longer Facebook official.
I saw that post.
Yeah,
Yes.
so now you can follow Mary and Pippin at silly_hobbitses. If anybody out there wants to join their Instagram and just watch these two just be buddies right now. At this point, they're still figuring out their relationship. Mary is a solid 20 pounds lighter than Pippin.
Yes.
So, there's definitely been a learning curve as far as how we play. It was very funny because Mary egged Pippin into a fight in the backyard, and Pippin outside gets very vocal. And so Pippin is just running at full speed and running pretty much into Mary and then just barking and running past him and then turning around and coming back. And it was just
It's like a joust.
Yeah. So
They're cute.
they're amazing.
They're so cute.
They're just sweethearts.
I love them. But anyway,
Yes.
it's good to see you, man.
It's good to see you too.
I'm excited to do this.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that last episode. I really enjoyed that last episode.
Yeah.
So I get a nice little boost every time we have an episode like that. I didn't, but I got so close. Fall Guy is now available to buy.
I also was tempted by that.
We might need to do that too, because
Yeah.
there's that and the Henry Cavill one.
The ungentlemanly behavior,
Yes,
whatever it is.
that is also available for purchase.
Yeah.
Still no Godzilla -1.
I know.
But we might need to do one of those two and do a review soon
Well,
of one
and
of them.
if we want to, we're sitting at the very end of Memorial Day weekend. Furiosa so far.
I know.
It looks like a swing and a big miss. So maybe we do a watch and review on that and see if that's...
See, but that's the thing, is like I have heard complete opposite reviews of it.
Yeah.
I've heard negative, and I've heard like as positive as I've ever heard reviews of movies.
The review that I saw that stuck with me was Perry Nemiroff said that it was a good movie, but what was most important was that it made Fury Road better, which I read as kind of like, so it's not as good as Fury Road.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting out of that statement is it's not a bad movie. It's not Fury Road.
Yeah.
And so we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm
And
still
I've been
hopeful.
going back and forth on it. Like,
Yeah.
I still think
The hair and makeup still really bugs me. There's a lot of elements of the hair and makeup that I just don't.
Chris Hemsworth
don't
knows.
like.
I just can't.
Anya Taylor-Joy's wig.
Yeah,
the
that too.
dark-haired wig that they have her wearing for so much of what seems to be the first half of the movie. It's not until she shaves her head that I'm like, there's Furiosa.
Yeah.
Until then, I'm like, what?
But even, I'll look at like different scenes of her, and her features once again are too pretty for this movie. Like they as great an actress as she is, that she just wasn't. I don't think she's right. Now, mind you, I'm saying this by just seeing clips of the movie and not seeing the movie itself, but I just don't buy that she's been living and being raised in this rough and tumble environment, because she has these absolute perfect features.
Well,
and it's like...
The thing about Charlize Theron, because, the immediate thing is that everybody's going to say, well, Charlize Theron is literally a model. Yeah, but you know that the Oscar that she won was for Monster, right? Have you seen?
Which was zero prosthetics. She gained the weight to look like that.
I think she gets more into roles than Anya Taylor-Joy does. I'm not saying Anya Taylor-Joy is a bad actress, but in what I've seen her in, she's always really good. I don't know how deep into the role she gets.
Yes.
So like whether it's Split or The Witch or...
And even The Queen's Gambit, she was just... I think her only direction to that was just be aloof.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Like, she was just aloof. And then she had some really good emotional scenes, but other than that, primarily she didn't
I want to
really...
see the menu. I want to see how she is in the menu.
I finally have seen the menu. I enjoyed it a lot. It's I love Ray Fiennes. So he can read the dictionary and I'll be happy with it. Nicholas Hoult was really good in it. She was great, but she kind of played her Queen's Gambit character a little bit.
She kind of played the character that she plays in a lot of things now.
Which is, once again, using the term aloof. You know, she's like, I'm skeptical, and I'm just going to be like, you need to prove it to me. And
that was her and Emma, too.
See, I never saw Emma.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw enough to be like, this is the note. This is how things are going to be throughout, which is fine. It's not a knock on anything.
But yeah, I could see in this type of movie.
She's not The Rock, where she's just playing herself.
No.
She is still being an actor.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
She's not Zendaya.
But they are asking her to just hit this one note over and over again, I think. So we'll see what happens to Furiosa. Neither of us have seen it.
I'm still worried that our next, watch review is going to be Deadpool Wolverine.
It's very possible.
I want to see a lot more leading up to that, but I'm looking at June. It's like,
I know. I'm gone through a week of June.
And then I'm gone the first week of July.
Yeah, so we have to figure out some backlog shows.
Yes.
But definitely, I don't know when we're going to have time to do a watch and review necessarily as part of that. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think the closest we're going to get is doing watch and reviews of, Madam Web, where we trash it and things like that.
I saw it on Netflix. I'll just throw it out there now. Part of my watch, play, read was Bridgerton this week. Kelly was really eager to watch Bridgerton, so I watched it with her, which was very interesting.
Did it make you want to watch Dungeons and Dragons by watching Bridgerton?
I found it really interesting that guy is only in the first season.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the ebb and flow of the show at all. So, I'm looking up the actors, and I'm like, wait a minute. Half these people disappear by halfway through the second season. Yeah. What's happening? So, it's just been very interesting. Anyone who says that women aren't as sexually aroused as men by things has clearly never watched something like this. Hot and heavy.
Fucking 50 Shades of Grey. There was an SNL skit they did. And by the way, we were talking about Regé Jean Paul or Paige. The whole joke SNL did was women sitting on dryers reading 50 Shades of Grey. It's like, no, there's female porn. Listen, it's just it's not as prevalent as male porn.
Well, and it's different in its form.
Yes.
There's a lot more words and action.
Yes.
As far as I've seen. Whereas a
guy you just show a sex scene, and we're like, oh.
A sex scene aimed at men is just, take the girls out. That's all the men need.
That's all you need.
So anyway, getting back to a less coarse line of action, when we were watching Bridgerton, Madam Web came up on Netflix, and Kelly was like, why is this here? And I was like, because the world has to torture me.
Yeah.
The world has to serve up this thing and be like, no, to quote my father, I only have so many hours left on this planet. I don't want to devote them to this. This is...
Yeah.
At worst, it's as bad as everybody says it is.
But that's the curiosity I have.
I know.
Because I know it's bad, but I just want to see how bad it is.
It's my fucking brand, dude. My whole fucking thing, you may have noticed this, it's all very Spider-Man related. So the idea that there have been multiple really bad Spider-Man movies, and I'm just not reviewing any of them off of I can't take it, I can't do it. But that's the bread and butter, dude. You could just watch these shitty movies and react to them. And it's but I don't wanna. I don't wanna see what's his nuts play Uncle Ben. I don't want.
Adam Scott.
I don't want to do this, man. Yeah. I don't want to see this version of Ezekiel. I don't want to find out if Silk is anywhere in this movie. All of it's gonna hurt my prayer, man. I always go back to when I was in the Crucible. It hurts my prayer. Mm-hmm. This bad movie, it hurts my prayer, and I don't know if I can do it.
But it's I'm having that same push and pull I had when I saw Morbius.
I know.
Now, mind you, I was lying on my deathbed with COVID when Morbius was on TV, so I was like, I had nothing else to watch. I'm just gonna fucking watch Morbius.
Yeah.
And
that had Matt Smith in it, so that's something.
And I know, and I love Matt Smith.
Something.
But this, I kind of have that Morbius curiosity where I'm like, I gotta know how bad it is.
It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be terrible.
It's gonna be real bad.
It's gonna be terrible.
The thing that I'm curious about is the famous line of he was with my mom when she died studying spiders in the Amazon. First off, I don't think it's not a good line. I'm not sitting here saying it's a good line. It's not the worst line I've ever heard in a movie. I have heard way worse lines in movies. I don't want to waste my time on it. There's nobody in it that I find captivating or interesting as far as acting goes. There's nothing about the story that makes me think that this is going to work. There's a lot of elements of it that make me think it's going to make me very angry. I will never get over the fact that people were surprised that those shots of the spider women in costume
wasn't gonna happen.
Was the only time that they were in costume was in flashbacks or dream sequences or flash forwards or whatever you want to call it, premonitions. Of fucking course, duh. How did you not see? Do you not look at how superhero shit is done?
Yeah.
The costume is maybe the 5th or 6th thing that people care about. For some reason, they care about it when they're promoting the thing.
I think they really promoted it hard because by the time the trailers were coming out, Sydney Sweeney had become a thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait a second, we have Sydney Sweeney in a tight outfit. We need to show that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though it's only that one scene.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some producer that was like, can we do reshoots to get more shots of her in the costume?
Can we do a nude scene?
It won't make any sense because we don't have her in the costume at all in the entire movie. Yeah, I know, but like, but for the trailer.
Yeah. It sucks. So anyways, folks, this is NerdPod Generations episode 140. So that means there's 139 previous episodes of Pure Gold. So please go back and listen to it. Also, we have an awesome website at nerdpodgen.com. So make sure to go to it. There are links to everything, to our personal stuff, to our YouTube channel, to Spotify, to everything. So you'll be able to find anything you want to know about us at nerdpodgen.com, except for our measurements, which you don't need to know.
No, those I keep very tightly sealed on my phone because I don't like to look at them.
No, me neither.
It makes me sad.
I'm a little too doughboy for that.
Yeah, no.
So we like to start every episode off, though, with what have we been watching, playing, reading. Would you like me to start this time, sir?
That's up to you. I'll defer. If you want to kick to me, I'll take it.
I got a couple important things I want to talk about. One of them, MCU Journey.
Okay, the Groan.
Which I forgot that we had one more to watch before Endgame. Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Marvel was one of the two with Ant-Man and the Wasp that was in between. So we watched Captain Marvel. I gotta say, I enjoyed it more this time than the last time I watched it.
I agree with that sentiment. I think that it's better the second time. That third act is still just a huge letdown.
The third act's a letdown. Here's the thing. They wrote a lot of that movie, especially the end part, I think for kids, especially with the flirkin, because my son was going nuts.
I bet he was.
The flirkin. He loved, oh my God, it's going to eat people. Oh my God. Like, he's going nuts. And yeah, the third act was a letdown. I was once again completely blown away how you could have terrible de-aging like Coulson. But then the Samuel L. Jackson one,
good.
But no, it's not good in the fact that like it's like they de-aged him to a other universe young Samuel L. Jackson, because we all know what Samuel L. Jackson looked like young because he made movies.
Yeah.
Like anyone that's seen Coming to America, he's the one that robs McDowell's, and we all know what he looks like. So this looks like a younger version of what Samuel L. Jackson looks like now.
Yeah.
But goddamn, it was so good. Like, they did such a great job with it, and it blew me away. I'm like, how could they do such a good job with that and then screw up so much de-aging in every other movie?
I still say they missed a golden opportunity of giving Nick Fury Jerry curls, a la Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I had him look like Jules.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that would have been kind of awesome.
This is what I'm saying. It would have been funny. It would have been something that pissed off all the nerds, so you know Marvel's into it as a concept, just by the mere idea that it's going to make nerds angry and talk on the internet.
But like, that's the thing. I don't think it would have, because they put the Ezekiel speech on his gravestone at the end of Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So it's like they already linked the universes.
Yeah.
It's like, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But it was, it was awesome. I really had a lot of fun watching it. Once again, Brie Larson I thought was fine. Like, I don't know all the hate she gets, because it's like, she I don't know if it was what they were looking for her to do or if it was her choice to just be a little dry, but it like I see it now as like, okay, this is just who she is as the character.
Yeah, my issue is that I think it's badly directed, because I think that that's the issue, is that it's a purposeful choice to have her be
I think it was a choice.
insanely aloof.
Yeah.
And which is kind of at odds with how what's his nuts Jude Law's character. I can't remember his fucking name. We'll call him Cor-Rel because that sounds like a fucking Cree
I think
name.
it's pretty close to that.
So anyway, but you have him being like, "You're too emotional. You're too emotional," and then throughout the entire thing, whenever she's talking, she just has this kind of deadpan aloof, like, whatever, I don't care, whatever, it's fine, whatever. So I'm like, so is she emotional or does she not care?
Jan Rog.
Not far off.
Yeah, what a name.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think that movie would benefit by having the ultimate weapon used by the accuser at the end of the movie, so that we actually have a decent fight instead of this, like, there's a mental fight with Supremor, which, again, I have to say, this is not my favorite version of Supremor. And then you have the kind of... There is a quote-unquote fight, but nobody can handle anything Carol delivers, so there's never any, like, even when she's falling out of the sky, you're just like, but she's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And then you have the moment where Jude Law is finally like, you have to fight me because you just need to prove yourself, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, so this is it, this is the whole, okay. And then you throw the Flurkin in at the end with the Tesseract and the clawing the eye. Man, I'm trying to hang my hat on Maria Rambeau and, like, some of these other elements that I like a lot more.
And that was the thing. Like, I did love the dogfight scene with Rambeau in the early Quinjet, let's call it, because that's pretty much what it was. That was pretty awesome.
That was really good.
Like, you're right. I wish there was more dogfighting things like that, because that was fucking
I wish
great.
that Lashana Lynch had more to do in the MCU just in general.
Yeah.
I'm glad whenever she shows up for cameos and that kind of stuff. I love that she's binary in this other universe. I think that's great, but, like...
You got to think, since that one tanked so bad, I wonder if binary is even going to be a thing anymore.
I don't even know, man.
Yeah.
So, like, I definitely liked Captain Marvel more the second time through.
Yes.
But I still just feel like at the end there were a few too many cop-outs where they were like, oh, but we're going to go back to the Aesop's fable of it all, of men telling women that they're too emotional, and we're just going to keep on pushing that button over and over and over and over and over again. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if we did this in a Captain America or an Iron Man movie, I would have the exact same complaint of, like, so there's just not going to be a fight at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
This is an action movie, right? But there's just not going to be a fight.
There's not going to be a fight.
And then the whole thing with the Skrulls.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the sad thing, because I did like Ben Mendelsohn as the Skrull, but they did... I mean,
they fucked it all up.
I think it's known that we think they've completely fucked up the Skrull. Yeah. So that's just a known quantity.
We don't need to hash that again.
No.
But this is further confirmation.
Yeah.
That this is not getting any better.
Yeah.
With multiple views, when you go back and you're like, let's see.
Exactly.
No.
So, like, and going into it knowing that the Skrulls are fucked up, but once again, I did enjoy Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
I thought he was fun in this movie.
I love the moment he has in the morgue, where he goes over to the dead Skrull and he kind of just like, it's okay, you know, go find home or whatever he says to it in passing. I was like, okay, I like this moment a lot.
Yeah.
I like this moment a lot.
That was great.
And I like the Kree mind wipe where they take the Kree out and they put in the Skrulls at the beginning of the movie. I thought that was very good too. Very good. So I like this movie a lot more the second time I saw it. I really wish it had a better third act.
The thing that caught me off guard in the third act when she's having her flashback to when she's younger. Young Carol at 13 was McKenna Grace. I was like, why does she look familiar? Yeah. Oh, Ghostbusters. That's right.
And Minerva is Cersei from The Eternals.
Yes, Gemma Chan. Yep. Which I love. I guess they're like, well, she's green in
blue,
this. So
right?
she's blue,
nobody's going to know.
I kind of agree with you with the Supreme Intelligence. I think the reason I didn't like it is I've never been a big Susan Sarandon fan. Or not Susan Sarandon, Annette Bening.
Yeah.
And so, because Annette Bening, I think, and now this is going to sound very chauvinistic, and I do not mean it that way. Her career really took off with Bugsy when she got married to
Warren Beatty.
And I don't want to say that she only got her roles after that because of Warren Beatty, because, you know, American Beauty she was really good in.
She was in L.A. Confidential, wasn't she?
Yeah, but no, yeah,
Wasn't that her?
no, Kim Basinger.
Yeah, it was Kate.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's like anything I've seen her in, I'm like, and like that's why I get confused when I said Susan Sarandon, because I look at them as very similar, but Susan Sarandon being better.
Yeah.
And it's like, but Annette Bening, her delivery is very monotone and very kind of stilted.
Yeah.
And I know as the Supreme Intelligence, it's technically like almost like a computer being or whatnot, so it's not gonna. But it's just her delivery was so monotone. I'm like, I don't.
Well, and they
build
build it to be that this is the reason that it takes this form is because it's the form that will be most comforting
of Wendy
to
Lawson,
Carol.
which was the.
And I like that. I like that they changed
Skrull.
Philip Lawson to Wendy Lawson.
Creed.
I think that that's a really strong move,
Yeah.
where you have Marvell and you just change it. You just we don't need Philip Lawson. It's Wendy Lawson now.
Yep.
We're all moving on. Cool.
Which I agree
great.
was fine.
Everybody, we all agree this is fine. Nobody is getting butthurt that Marvell and Philip Lawson are just getting papered over. That's fine. Nobody cares about that. I just feel like the Supreme Intelligence, again, it goes back to that whole idea of like they're telling us one thing and then showing us another. And I'm just like, this just doesn't do anything for me. I've also seen better versions of the Supreme Intelligence. So like, this just doesn't do anything for me, man.
I saw this also. I thought about this after the movie as a missed opportunity. If you needed a older, strong female character, get Sigourney Weaver. That ties her into the sci-fi background she has with aliens and being the badass. She loves doing it.
Yeah.
She would have been great.
She's
fucking that. She would have been amazing.
She cameos as not Ripley so often.
Yeah.
Paul. She's the villain in Paul. Even though she's just mostly on the phone and then she shows up at the very end.
Villain and Paul, she's kind of the villain in Cabin in the Woods when she shows up and she's the one running everything. And it's like, dude, I was thinking of all the different, Meryl Streep came to mind and all that, but I'm like, who would have really nailed it because they have a background in this like female-driven sci-fi? It's like, dude, the ultimate female-driven sci-fi is fucking Sigourney Weaver.
I do wish the movie had different directors because, between the issues with some of the look of the movie and some of the story beats of the movie and then some of the acting portrayals in the movie, I just feel like they had these two directors that were indie directors. It was that era when Marvel was like, we don't need big-name directors. We need anybody who's directed a movie that made it into South by Southwest. And then we'll give them quote-unquote control, and then it's actually going to be puppet strings from there. And this was one of those movies that I really felt like you can see the puppet strings. You can see that you have these directors who don't have if they have a vision, it's an incredibly boring vision that doesn't take into account what this can be. And then you just have Marvel being like, it'd be funny is having Nick Fury have his eye clawed out by the Flurkin. Yeah, I got a great idea. I got a Flurkin thing. What's a Flurkin? Oh my god, it's gonna sell so much crap. It's not. There's so much Flurkin stuff in dumps.
And really, going off of what you're saying, if you wanted to make a film with a female action-centric director, you can't tell me they couldn't have found a way to get Catherine Bigelow, maybe? To do something like that. Somebody that has, she's freaking won her Oscar because of...
She loves the military.
Action. Yes, absolutely. and it's like, this is kind of in that wheelhouse, but you're right. And I don't know, I never liked the two director thing. No. It works sometimes, for
works some things, the Russos do it well.
Yeah, and the guys that do Stranger Things and the Wachowskis. Some of the Wachowskis.
Most of the Coen brother movies are pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Even with some of them, a lot of it is, and I'm curious if this worked that way, where a lot with the Coens is they decide who's going to be the main director and who's going to do second unit stuff.
I often wonder that because...
And it's like, do you have two different visions going at the same time? Even though these two have been collaborating since they were in college, it's like, okay, so they've worked together a lot, but maybe they have different ideas on certain things, and you need that one person saying, I am the final decision.
Well, and if you have two people that are only used to making smaller films, and then they're handed this blockbuster, and they're going to, it's that whole idea of I don't need to change how I do things, even though I have more money. That's going to change how my art looks. And it's like, okay, yeah, no, that's true. I can appreciate that. Maybe don't try and do, smaller storytelling here where everything is so nuanced that it seems counterintuitive to what you're being told.
I agree. So that was interesting. Now Endgame is next, so I'll let you know. Hopefully next week. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to watch it. It is a long one, but
you're going to have to sit down 3 different nights.
Yeah. to get that one out.
It's going to be one of those 3-night specials like ABC used to do.
Well, speaking of which, I have one other movie to talk about, and it was quite possibly the greatest breath of fresh air for documentaries that I've seen in a very long time. It is on Netflix, and it is called Butterfly in the Sky.
Oh, is this
It is about reading Rainbow.
Nice.
And watching it, you just have a smile on your face the whole time because you're like, after all these awful, like every documentary is about a murder, a rapist, kids getting molested. It's like all this horrible stuff. And then you're like, oh, there's LeVar Burton and there's all this talk. And they're interviewing the kids that used to do the book reviews who are adults now. And they're showing them the books they've reviewed. And it's like, I feel so good watching this. And it was wonderful. And it was, a lot of it starts off with how LeVar Burton was a no-name student who got offered the Kunta Kinte part after, and it was an 8-part series that bolstered him into superstardom and got him reading Rainbow. And I'm watching it like, it was the only thing that disappoints me is you never hear LeVar Burton's name when people talk about, especially African Americans who have had an impact on the lives of other African Americans, because they're interviewing a lot of these adults now who were kids that were like, I never read. And then I turn on the TV and I see somebody with my skin color reading to me, and all I wanted to do was read. And now they're doctors, and you're like, why do we not hear it? Like, LeVar Burton truly is a national treasure. Yeah. And you never hear anything about him.
And he's a humble guy.
Oh, so humble.
He's not like a big guy who's talking about stuff or trying to make news. Yes. He's not even like a pea stew who's still doing acting in various forms and varieties. It's like the last thing I saw him in was that episode of Picard.
Picard, yeah.
And before that, Community?
Yeah.
As like a guest star,
as himself,
exactly. And so it's like, he continues to donate all the profits from reading Rainbow to other people, and just like his daughters are really smart.
And he has a podcast which I think is still on. It's LeVar Burton Reads. It's kind of like reading Rainbow, but a podcast.
Yeah, but like I'm so impressed with LeVar Burton as an individual. Yeah. And he's such a gift to humanity.
Well, the part I didn't know about his life is in this, he talks about how prior to going to film school or acting school, he was studying to be a priest.
Oh, all right.
And he decided he didn't want to do that. But then when he got off after Roots, he was on Johnny Carson, and it was before he got offered reading Rainbow, and he even said, Carson said, what do you plan on doing in the future? He goes, well, I want to keep, I kind of want to keep doing TV, but I want to kind of do something like Roots that is educational and entertaining. And it's like,
there you go.
There you go. And you fucking, from 83 to 99, you're on Reading Rainbow, and everyone loves you as this amazing. And it's like, you watch those early ones, and you're like, dude, this was like in 83, 84 when people, the best analogy I had to this is if you think about how even successful African Americans were treated in media back then. You think of shows like The Jeffersons. George Jefferson was super successful, but they made him out to be this like buffoon. Mm-hmm. And even though he was insanely successful, he was the dumbest one in his family, and he was always doing buffoon things. And then you have this show, and this guy comes out, and he's this young kid, and he's insanely intelligent and well-read, and in the way they made him, he was the role model. Yeah. And I'm watching it like, God damn, why is no one talk about the impact he's had on the lives? Everyone brings up Star Trek, which was amazing, and I love him as Geordi, but the impact he had in the show was fucking unbelievable.
Reading Rainbow is by far the most important thing he's done.
Absolutely. And he would say that too. Yeah.
No, I always loved when I was a kid and you'd be watching Reading Rainbow and you get one of the old ones that's in syndication and you're like, oh, why does it look this way? Well, because this is 1984, baby.
Dude, it was early.
And I just remember one where he still had the big mustache, the big caterpillar mustache, and he's interviewing the Oakland A's after they win the World Series. And he's doing like batting practice with them
for a long goddamn time.
I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, here we go. Really quick, My only LeVar Burton story is he is the one celebrity that I think I ran into in New York City.
Oh, really?
I was leaving work one day. I was walking back to Grand Central Terminal, and I walk past somebody that looks like LeVar Burton, and I just start staring at him. And then he looks at me like, "Why are you staring at me?" I'm like, "I think that's LeVar Burton." And I just keep going. Like, I don't stop to try to... It's just one of those, like...
He was probably waiting for you to say something.
And no, but, like, seriously, he's staring at me like, "Are you gonna... What's going on? Why are you just staring at me, dude?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go. I'm going home."
But see, that's what's funny is that is the impact he has. I would probably be speechless, too. I'd probably stop and go, like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Producer, she said the very first book was... I met iguanas at the airport or something like that. It was in the pilot episode. And she said when they went and pitched it to the publishing house, they're like, "Listen, we're going to have this show. You know, we're going to read to kids and we're going to show the book. And you're probably going to sell millions of books. So we want to use this book. We chose it as the first one." And she said the woman's like, "I don't see how this is going to sell books for us." And she's like, luckily someone came to their senses and let us do it.
Yeah.
And people made millions off of this show.
Oh, yeah.
Because their books literally flew off the shelves.
Yeah.
And it's like to think how stupid people... I mean, there are probably people nowadays working in large companies that are just as dumb. But to think, wait a second, I'm going to have my book that I'm not going to have to pay for them to show on national TV for millions of kids, and I don't think it will sell copies.
Warner Discovery.
Yes, thank you very much. There you go. But that was just interesting. I'm like, and the woman, you could just see, she goes, "We were so frustrated."
Yeah.
We're like, what do we can't spell it out for you any better than this.
Yeah, no, that's always the way it goes.
But that's my watching this week. I highly recommend this documentary. Anyone, it's on Netflix. It is so good. And once again, it's, especially if you're a kid from the 80s and 90s and you did watch this show, you just literally will smile the entire time.
Yeah.